up, guys? It's your boy Alex, and welcome back to the Brave Lionheart channel. More specifically, welcome back to the Lionheart Review Corner. I had to make sure that I got the name right. But yes, we are back again with another video of the Lionheart Review Corner. I know it's been a while since I did a, review of a movie and, just a review of anything in general. And I figured, today would be a good time because I've actually been planning this for a little bit, but something like that. But let me ask you something. What do you all think, or what is your honest opinion on giant monster movies? More specifically, kaiju films. Just giant monsters roaming around the city, crushing things, eating people, and occasionally fighting other monsters that want to take them out for, kaiju supremacy. Well, what is your opinion on one of the best kaijus? That, of course, I'm talking about Godzilla. Or as the 1999 or 1989 film, I keep forgetting the year that it came out, the reboot, basically. Not the 2014 reboot, but anyway, what the 1989 movie said, Godzilla, Godzilla, or something like that. I'm terrible at an old man voice or anything like that. But yes, Godzilla. In my honest opinion, I love Godzilla films. The campy ones, the really funny and really awesome ones with a lot of crazy characters and monsters and stuff. One in particular that he fought in his lifetime, you might know him. He's a giant monkey, lives on an island with crazy natives. Peter Jackson did a reboot about him and basically made it the creepiest thing ever in the first opening act before they end up showing the giant monkey and yada, yada, yada. Yes, of course, I'm talking about King Kong himself. Yes. Now, I'm not specifically talking about the old Godzilla vs. King Kong movie. No, that would be way, way too short, and specifically, I wouldn't remember much of what happened in that movie. I remember small bits and pieces. No, what I'm of course talking about is the reboot that came out recently this year. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. For today's review on Lionheart Movie Corner, we're going to be talking about Godzilla vs. Kong! I had to emphasize there that, or something like that, never mind. Yes, we are going to be talking about Godzilla vs. Kong. I ended up rewatching the clips to it, rewatched the movie recently. But yeah. And if you want to know my honest opinion about it, you're going to have to wait till the review starts for that to happen. Godzilla vs. Kong. One of Warner Brothers' second films to come out in 2021, not only to theaters, but to the streaming service HBO Max. By the way, this video is not sponsored by HBO Max. But anyway, I already knew that this was going to be a reboot, and usually how I feel about reboots is not the best thing. But this movie was hyped up a lot in the trailers and ads for it, showing off some really decent, little 2-second moments of Godzilla and Kong duking it out. Even really one cool moment of them actually fighting on a hair carrier. And of course, not Godzilla, but Kong. And of course, we all know that this movie is more based around towards the 2014 Godzilla reboot. And of course, the 2017, 2018 King Kong reboot. I may actually be wrong about that. People can let me know in the comment section down below of this video if I was wrong, or, reassure me if I was, right about it or wrong or something about it. But anyway, let's not waste any time and let's ask ourselves the question, is this a good reboot to join the lineup of Warner Brothers 2021 good movies selection? Well, there's only one way to find out, so let's get ready to join the kaiju action and take a look at Godzilla vs. Kong. Now, of course, we can't just, stand and do the review, like how I do with my trailer breakdowns. We, of course, have to have, without our old good reviewing chair. Yeah, I don't know why I went southern there for a second. Just wanted to spice things up a bit. Yeah, I know a lot of you aren't really laughing at my videos. You're just probably laughing on the inside. I know my jokes are terrible. I'm trying my best here, people. But anyway, with that being said, we've got our review chair, and we are ready to start the review. So, without further ado, let's dive right into Godzilla vs. Kong. Now, of course, again, keep in mind, since I'm doing a full review, unlike my last video, which was a review on Willy's Wonderland, because I didn't want to go into any spoiler details on that, this one is going to be, again, off the top of my head of what I remember from watching the movie. So just work with me the best you can. And, if I do forget stuff, let me know in the comment section down below. But anyway, with that being said, let's get started. So, we start off any great kaiju film with a look at Kong's naked rear behind. Or more specifically, his, hairy behind. And specifically just seeing Kong's morning routine while being kept under surveillance under a dome. Yeah, considering I guess you didn't really get free in the Kong Skull Island movie, now that I think about it. Or something like that. But anyway, you're probably asking, why are we starting off with Kong when we could start off with Godzilla attacking Hong Kong? I'm just starting to think that's just his, morning routine schedule. Kong has his morning routine, being trapped in captivity and all that. Zilla has his Kong. Sorry, no, I don't know why I said that. Zilla has his morning routine of basically, saving the world and then occasionally destroying a city now and then. Whatever keeps him happy, I guess. And it seems he's not specifically just attacking Hong Kong, but a specific part of Hong Kong, which is the Apex territory or whatever, which is being looked at by this photojournalistic podcast guy. Yeah, I'm not going to remember a lot of the names of these characters, because, again, with a kaiju film, you usually tend to forget the human characters unless they're interesting, and, all that. But, he's just there, sneaking in, trying to get a look at what Apex is basically creating, and he also finds this weird, alien metal spear ball eye thing. It's not really explained as much. But the attack of Zilla does get the word of our main actress, Millie Bobby Brown, everybody. Now, when I first heard that she was coming back in this movie, I was very excited to see that she was. So, that's a plus. So, basically, she gets word of this and thinks that, this is kind of weird. Godzilla pretty much just saved everybody, so why would he attack just again? This also gets word to her dad, who was also the main lead in the Godzilla 2014 reboot, who basically spent the whole movie just hating Godzilla because, oh, he killed my dad, I assumed. I just assumed he killed my dad. He didn't really do it. It was another thing that happened, and I'm still mad at him, but, ended up liking him in the end of the reboot. Yeah, but he's back to basically hating him. Now in this entire movie, just completely hating Zilla for no apparent reason. And we all know in the end he's just gonna like Godzilla again, so it doesn't really matter. He's sort of on that like-hate relationship with Godzilla. Never thought you'd see that between a kaiju and a human. Ugh, come to think of it, now I don't even want to think about that. Ugh. Just gives you the wrong ideas now that I think about it. Okay, I'm just not going to talk about that anymore. But we are also introduced to another new character in this movie. And considering, again, I'm not going to remember a lot of the character names in this movie, we're just going to call him by his real actor name, Eric, who you might remember I mentioned him in my last video of the trailer breakdown with the Forever Purge. Yeah, he's going to be in that, so guess you can be excited for that movie also, more than this one. So, he is basically here to check up on Kong, and he believes that because of Kong being a kaiju, he could actually lead them to this ancient, old civilization of other giant monkey kaiju. It's not really well explained in the movie what it is. It's just that Kong was, the ruler of this place, and because of, him being a kaiju, he could, lead them to it, and something like that. It's, again, not really well explained. And I also believe that I think I talked about before with the Godzilla and Kong movie with a little girl character who is also in this. But other than that, we'll basically get more to that. I gotta deal with something real quick. Alright, there we go. Sorry, I had to deal with messages real quick, and of course it's getting way too hot outside, so I may have to try and do this really quick while it's getting hot. So, continuing where we left off from that thing, we also cut back to Millie's character, who's trying to find out more about, why Godzilla attacked Hong Kong and the Apex place whatever. That's when, of course, she finds out about the podcast guy. And she also has her own partner in crime, her Dustin from Stranger Things, if you will. Honestly, I do wonder if they actually still hang out nowadays, before they go back to filming season 4 and whatnot. Something like that. Anyway, while that's going on, we cut back to Kong, who's now being put on the ship, which I made a mention to when I watched the trailer for Godzilla vs. Kong, because I also talked about referencing the original where they had like an entire tribe who put Kong to sleep, and that's how they were able to get him on the ship, but they also put a giant tarp over him, I guess. Again, it's been way too long since I've seen the original Godzilla vs. King Kong. And I was thinking, how exactly did they get him on that ship? Did they, tranquilize him or something? And, I figured they weren't going to explain it in the movie whatsoever. And they didn't. They didn't explain. He just is asleep on the ship. Yay. Though, there is one scene that actually kind of, got me to tear up a little bit as a specific scene. And that's when we learn about the little girl in this movie and how she only speaks in sign language. And she's able to communicate with Kong through sign language. And that was actually a really nice touch. Them using, a monkey's, sign language to basically, communicate with the little girl and all that. That was really sweet of them. Really, real nice touch. Though the next morning that sweet touch is basically broken in half when Godzilla shows up on the scene. And basically just, is like, yo, what up, Kong? Square up! Or something like that. And of course, we get our first fight scene with Godzilla and Kong, and it's a really fun fight scene to watch. Just seeing the two of them just duke it out. And of course, like I said when I talked about the movie before we started the review, seeing them fight on a small air carrier, and then freaking Kong getting a sucker punch into Godzilla and just almost knocking him out. It's still a really fun fight scene to watch. Really, really great action. But of course, Kong doesn't really win the fight as much. So, the people still almost drowning in the ship, even though Kong basically got them back up and, got them, upright, basically. They basically have a plan to lay low and play dead so that they think Zilla thinks he won the fight. Though really, we all know Kong would have won that fight easily. Just really easily. And their journey continues. Meanwhile, back with Millie's, sort of small group, they managed to find the podcast guy, and they both all agree to basically go and sneak into the Apex facility. That's what I was trying to say before, the Apex facility. I don't know why I couldn't think of the word. So they all agreed to basically go into the facility and see exactly what they are hiding. What they are hiding is a bullet train that takes it to their actual place of business. Oh yeah, and it was all basically run by this one guy that was briefly mentioned in one scene when Kong was attacking, or basically after Kong was attacking Hong Kong and all that. Something like that. And, he's basically the head guy. We'll just say he's the villain of the movie. Yeah, because Godzilla really needs human villains a lot. But more specifically, this also leads into something that I'm pretty sure a lot of you already saw in a TV spot that was already ruined for the movie. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Mechagodzilla. Yep. And I'll bet you like to know how this movie basically messed with Mechagodzilla. Not only in his design, which I'll take a moment to basically talk about that. Give me a sec. I need a clear mind for this. Okay. Let's go into this for a little while. So, Millie, the Dustin character, and the podcast guy make it to the secret Apex base, where they discover what they've been hiding from the world all along. And that was Mechagodzilla. So yeah, I want to talk about this real quick. I want to go into details a little bit more about why this doesn't work and what they did wrong with this Mechagodzilla in the movie. So first of all, his design. You done stole freaking Michael Bay's design book and took designs from his Transformers movie for robots or like Decepticons and Autobots that he didn't use in his rebooted movie and basically used that design for Mechagodzilla. That's my own theory that Warner Brothers did, basically. Just that. And furthermore, they're controlling him with King Ghidorah's second head that survived the battle with Godzilla and all the other kaijus. First off, this was a method used for Mecha Ghidorah. Yeah, the people ended up, some evil people basically brought King Ghidorah back and as a mechanized version, only using his second head as the real thing, and the other two heads being robotic and everything. Secondly, you're basically taking the plot elements of Godzilla SOS when the government built another Mechagodzilla, or Kiryu, as he's basically called, and I just burped, I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Kiryu, however it's pronounced, which, by the way, was also inhabited with the spirit of the original Godzilla that died in the very first Godzilla film. Just, Warner Brothers, please don't. Just, really don't. You already made that big of a mess with Batman vs. Superman, introducing Doomsday as the main villain. And yet, look what you're doing again. Let's just move on. So, Millie, her friend, and the podcast guy get all captured by the Apex facility leader. Again, don't really remember the character names except the kaijus in this movie. And while all that's going on, Eric, the mother, the daughter, and all the other people that got Kong to this supposed hidden place of his people or his kind, they end up going to Antarctica of all places, and they think Kong can basically lead them to it. But if they lie to him, saying, oh, maybe we'll find your family down there, they don't find his family. What they do find is actually a visually stunning world with a bunch of other creatures that Kong easily gets rid of in a few seconds. And they find a floating rock that holds a cave in it that basically holds an ancestral axe thing that Kong uses for only a few seconds, basically. So, there is that. Meanwhile, back in Hong Kong, Zilla arrives because he's getting some Godzilla kaiju spider sense tingling feeling about Mechagodzilla, I guess. Again, the movie doesn't really explain how that works. So yeah, Godzilla is back in Hong Kong and is ready to basically kill whoever's giving him the spider sense headaches, basically. Oh yeah, and the Apex guy gets attacked and killed by Mechagodzilla, and the three basically escape the facility with their lives still intact. And while that's going on, Kong is back there and is saved by Zilla, only to basically have another square-up challenge with him. And this is where we get the final battle of Godzilla vs. Kong. Yeah, we're working on Freddy vs. Jason logic, where they only get 2 battles in their big movie. You'd expect them to get more battles, but hey, it's the final battle. And let me just say, this final battle is awesome. I mean, it has everything you'd expect. Really great action, visuals, really great visuals, and just the two slugging it out back and forth and just going at it, going all out. And there's also some really corny joke that Eric says, like, looks like Kong takes round 2. Yeah, you're keeping a tally of both Godzilla and Kong. Let the fans do that, Eric. Let the fans do that. So yeah, their battle goes as pretty much well as you expected. Kong looking like he's gonna lose, Godzilla getting the upper hand, and just them both roaring back at each other. But then, of course, Mechagodzilla shows up and wants it on the fun. Sorry, that whole thing made my throat go crazy. So yeah, Mechagodzilla shows up, just wants to square up with Godzilla, and basically beats the crap out of him, just does everything, and then Kong, basically the little girl saying that, you gotta help Zilla. I mean, he spared your life. Clearly he did, little girl. It looked like Godzilla was about to kill him. So yeah, Kong basically gets up. Oh yeah, and there was a point where he broke his arm, and Kong basically fixed his shoulder and fixed his arm, basically. That is probably the best moment you'll ever get out of a Kong and Godzilla movie. Just saying. Wish they kind of did that in the original movie. So yeah, we get a team-up battle with Godzilla and Kong taking on Mechagodzilla. It's still actually a pretty decent fight. And basically we get like a DBZ energy blast, like a Kamehameha wave and Gallic gun clash with Godzilla and Mechagodzilla's like atomic breaths. But they end up basically killing each other, and Godzilla does a freaking Mortal Kombat fatality and rips Mechagodzilla's head off and shows it to everyone. And then basically, Godzilla and Kong look back at each other. Godzilla gives a respect look, like, yeah, you and me, we cool. We cool. And they go their separate ways. Sorry. But basically, Godzilla goes back to his own life. Kong goes back to, well, technically he goes into the world that he was living in with just a forest area, I guess. Not sure how they added that in any case. But then again, the movie ends there. No really big resolution, not even a after-end credits to show off that there's going to be a sequel, even though it was kind of announced that there might be a sequel. I don't know, there doesn't really need to be a sequel. But other than that, I don't know. Anyway, that was Godzilla vs. Kong, and I would be lying if I said I didn't enjoy this movie, because I really do enjoy this movie. Honestly, I was kind of skeptical seeing that it was going to be a reboot of an original movie, but then of course I love the kaiju films, love the Godzilla movies, and some of the King Kong stuff, and I really did enjoy this movie. Then again, let's just cut to the chase and get over with like the good and bad stuff. Now normally I would start off with the bad stuff, but I want to cut the good stuff right out of the way before we talk about the bad stuff. So, let's get over with the good stuff. The good stuff we have, of course, is the action itself. The action is fast-paced, it's awesome, and in which case, with the kaijus, basically Godzilla and Kong, it's slow, but still really awesome to watch. Even though we only get, like, 2 fight scenes in this whole movie, well, technically 3 if you want to count the Godzilla and Kong taking on Mechagodzilla. But we know this was a Godzilla and Kong straight-up duking it out movie. Because the title, of course. And the adverts that showed, basically, before Mechagodzilla was shown up. But yeah, the acting is decent as always. Millie Bobby Brown does an amazing job as her character. There are some decent characters in this movie that I like. The movie is visually good. There's some really great visuals, especially during the fights with Godzilla and Kong. Really, really great visuals that we have for this movie. But yeah, good stuff out of the way. Let's talk about the bad stuff. Right off the bat, some of the human characters I did not really like in this movie. Honestly, I didn't like Millie's character's dad in the movie. I really don't think his purpose really served anything in this movie. Just to be a grouch and immediately switch to hating Godzilla again, but then again just liking him at the end. Really don't think he added anything to the plot of the movie. And let's talk about the specific plot. Now I know with the original Godzilla movie, there was some dumb plot with that just to get, Kong to fight Godzilla or something like that. this movie basically jumps around with the whole thing. Like, going to some world that Kong somehow knows about and just knows where it is, just to find his family and find nothing. That mystical axe that he used, it's never really explained. It's just not... And then, of course, probably the biggest problem I have with this movie is Mechagodzilla's inclusion into it. I know a lot of you are probably going to disagree with me, saying, oh, what are you talking about? Mechagodzilla was the coolest thing in this movie. That's fine. That's your own opinion, and you could probably hate me for saying my own opinion about what I thought. I guess it's fine, but this wasn't really King of the Monsters, basically, where they were supposed to have all the kaijus in it. This really did not need the inclusion of Mechagodzilla. And the fact that Warner Brothers just gets the basic facts of Mechagodzilla wrong. That they use the wrong kind of Mechagodzilla and the wrong way of basically controlling him and using him. And the fact that, like, the Apex facility was supposed to be the main big bad thing in this movie or something. I don't know. Just really did not think they needed to be the villain of this movie. If you just made it just a standalone Godzilla facing Kong for, you know, supremacy and stuff, like most of his Godzilla versus movies, then that actually would have been fine. But then again, you ended up adding all that different stuff and just mainly changing what I thought about it. But anyway, let's go to my final verdict for Godzilla vs. Kong. I would give this movie a solid, let's say 6.8 out of 10. Really great action, great visuals, really good acting. Just not the best when it comes to human characters and, you know, again, adding the inclusion of Mechagodzilla in this movie. But hey, that's what kaiju movies are for. You don't watch them for the human characters, you mostly watch them for the giant monsters. But yeah, again, I would recommend this movie for any kaiju fan that's out there who wants to check it out in theaters, or if you have subscribed to HBO Max, just check it out on there, because it's much better and you can find all the cool little Easter eggs and stuff in that movie. But yeah, anyway, thank you all for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Be sure to click that notification bell to never miss a new video. Doing new stuff once a week. Trying to get new content out there for all you awesome people. Anyway, with that being said, I will see all you awesome fans later. Bye-bye!